And welcome back. We're going to start turn number 7 now with our friendly headquarters draw. And we do not get a headquarters event this turn. We're going to go ahead and move on down to the activation phase. The CO is still in the staging area and therefore has communication with battalion. So we're going to go and draw for the CO's activation. We are currently down to a activity level of no contact. We have no enemies on the board thanks to our enemy HQ event the last turn. So we're going to go ahead and draw +1 for being at no contact, and since the CO is green, that's a -1 there, so we'll have a net of 0, and we get a draw of 4 commands for the CO. So we're going to use those 4 commands to activate all 3 of our squads plus the first sergeant this turn. I'll just move those over here. And now we'll move on to the platoon and staff activation phase, and we'll go ahead and just draw those in that order: first, second, third, and then sergeant. So again, we're +1 for being at no contact. The first platoon leader is out in the open, so he doesn't get the benefit of cover, so he's got a -1 for being green. So first platoon gets 3 commands. Second platoon, also out in the middle, he's going to get +1, -1, he's going to get 5 commands. Third platoon is actually in cover, so he's going to be +2, -1, so a net of +1 on his draw. Third platoon is going to get 4 commands. And finally, the sergeant is undercover and we're at no contact, and he's lined, so he's going to get +2 on his draw. So sergeant's going to get 6 commands. So an awful lot of commands to work with on this turn. Let's go ahead and start with our first platoon. And the first platoon is going to go ahead and simply move forward into the cover in the card ahead of him. So we'll take all of the first platoon. Everyone is out in the open right now. Take the entire first platoon, mark them as exposed, and move them forward into that cover with the remnants of the first squad. Okay, and on his way, first platoon is going to go ahead and drop wire into that village. Remember, you can drop wire as you leave a card, and that's a free action. So first platoon is going to lose 2 commands for that move. That drops him from 3 to 1. Now there is a litter team present on the card with the first platoon leader right now, and so we're going to go ahead and attempt to rally that litter team. So we'll go ahead and draw the 1 card for the attempt to rally on that litter team, and we actually get that rally. So we're going to go ahead and dig out that litter team that's in there. Remove that and upgrade that to the fire team. Okay. There's also a paralyzed unit there. We'll go ahead and draw to, that uses the first platoon's last activated command. The first platoon still has a couple of saved commands. So we're going to go ahead and use one of those saved commands to attempt to rally the paralyzed unit. So we draw there and we do not get that. Since we don't have any other real use for those commands right now, let's go ahead and spend 1 more command to exhort, which gives us 1 more draw on that. And again, we don't get the rally on that draw either. First platoon is now completely out of commands. And let's go ahead and move on to the second platoon. Second platoon is going to kind of do this similar sort of thing here. We're going to go ahead and move forward into the orchard and under that cover marker. So we'll move forward, mark them as exposed, and put them under the cover with the other units. And we'll go ahead and drop a wire marker off in that hedgerow as well, so that we make sure we keep in contact with the CO. We don't want to lose the ability to get our commands. And second platoon is also going to go ahead and order the 1-2 forward into the hedgerow, just in case we run into anything, any sort of counterattack of any sort. We want to make sure we've got some units up there to deal with that, and we'll mark him as exposed up there. So 2 commands for the platoon move, 1 command for the ordering 1-2 forward. So that's cost us 3 commands now, from 5 down to 2. And then right now we still have a lot of units firing on that farm. We're going to go ahead and take advantage of the fact that the second platoon is carrying a Red Star cluster pyrotechnic, and we'll go ahead and launch that in the orchard. And the effect of that is that all of the cards that have LOS to that fired Red Star cluster are going to go ahead and stop fire. Remember, we tied that ceasefire command to that pyrotechnic. So we're going to go ahead and remove the PDF from the 50 cal machine gun, the PDF from this card as well, and that's going to remove the crossfire and automatic weapons fire going into that now empty farm. That takes off 1 more of second platoon's commands. He's now spent 4 commands, and he's going to go ahead and call it done. So he'll take his extra command, and well, actually he's already at 3, which is the most he can keep as a green leader, so he's going to lose that last command. Okay, finally the third platoon. Third platoon is going to simply move forward and occupy objective 2. That way we can guarantee we've got plenty of units there, so we're going to leave the cover and they'll order a platoon move for the squad and the bazooka team, and they'll go ahead and move into the trenches. We'll place the exposed marker on them, and they're now in the trenches. Or you know what, we're actually not going to move into the trenches on that. Sorry, we're just going to stay exposed and not in the trenches. Okay, and again, third platoon will drop his last wire as they leave that card to remain in communication. So 2 commands burned for third platoon. We'll call that done for third platoon as well, and he'll get to bank his remaining 2 commands and max out to 3 saved commands. Alright, finally we have our sergeant. The sergeant is going to move forward on his own out of the village and into the cover in the hedgerow with everyone else. It's getting a little bit crowded up there, but he's doing this so that he can establish a casualty collection point there in the hedgerow. And since we have a casualty unit there, we'll get to claim that for victory points down the road. He is going to be exposed, so we'll just place him underneath the exposed marker with the rest of the first platoon moved up. And the first sergeant uses 2 commands to do that, and he'll get to bank the remainder of those commands, and so that's going to move him from 2 commands saved up to his max of 6 saved commands. That's going to be it for the activation phase. That only leaves us going for initiative for our XO. Remember, our XO sitting back here on this hedgerow. And the XO gets 1 command as part of the initiative. And what we're going to do with that first command is go ahead and attempt to rally the litter team that retreated back to him. So we've got this litter team sitting here, so we're going to go ahead and draw 1 card to attempt to rally that team. And we do get our rally. So that means we're going to get to upgrade that litter team back to a fire team. The litter team's going to come off and we'll replace it with that fire team. Now the XO is going to go ahead and order that fire team to rejoin the squad sitting here with the XO, the 1-3. And so remember that 1-3 is sitting there as a two-step squad right now, so we can go ahead and order that fire team to augment the 1-3. And that is an automatic action. We don't have to draw for that action. So we simply flip that back to its three-step side and remove the fire team from the board. So now we have a nice full three-step squad again, and the XO is going to go ahead and order that into the hedgerow that we had bypassed earlier, since we're going to need to clear that in order to meet our victory conditions. And so we'll put that on that card and we'll mark that with the exposed marker. That is going to be it for the XO's command. So he burned his one command that he was granted this turn, as well as two saved commands, leaving him with one saved command when all is said and done. Finally, we're going to go ahead and draw for general initiative. And we get a 1 for general initiative. Not what we were hoping for. We'll go ahead and take that 1 general initiative, and we're going to go ahead and have the 1-3 attempt to find cover on that card. So we're going to draw 4 and look for cover on that card. We've got 1, 2, we found it, 3, and 4. So we've got our cover for that card, and that's just going to be a +1 cover marker for that card. That is the end of our general initiative in our command phase for this turn. We'll go ahead and draw now for the enemy HQ event. And we did not get an enemy HQ event this turn. And then we're going to go ahead and move straight into the VOF segment. First thing we're going to do is remove the incoming marker from the bunker at the back end of the map. We no longer have that incoming marker back there. That comes off the board. Now we're going to go ahead and evaluate our PC markers. So we have one PC marker on the map at this point. So a PC marker C with a condition of no contact. We see on our chart C and no contact means we're going to go ahead and draw on 4 cards looking for contact. We'll pull those. We've got 1, 2, 3. There's our contact. And we have our reshuffle. We'll draw the last card off of that to get our 4. Okay, so we do have a contact. We're going to go ahead and take a moment to shuffle the deck, and then we'll draw for what package we reveal on that contact. Okay, we're back and ready to draw for that package on our potential contact C. So we did get a contact, we'll draw, and we get a draw of 10, we get an 8. So we go to the briefing book and figure out that a package 8 on a potential contact of C is mines plus a machine gun, package number 6. So we look at package number 6. We see that package 6 is mines plus a heavy machine gun nest. It is going to be firing at us, but it's also going to be spotted, and it's going to be a mines plus heavy machine guns under foxholes. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and figure out where we're going to place the heavy machine guns. So we'll draw on the random 10 for that. And we get a 5. And again, we look at the briefing booklet, and we see that a 5 is a front at max line of sight. So the maximum line of sight right on these cards is going to be the woods directly in front of the card, since the dark borders would prevent any LOS from continuing. So we're going to go and grab a heavy machine gun unit out for that. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and place the 3 HMG along with foxholes in the woods there. Okay, we're also going to go ahead and place our mines VOF. And for this, we're going to immediately draw 3 cards to determine whether or not that's the unit actually hit the mines when they walked into that card. So we draw 3 cards for that. We have 1, 2, and 3. So the burst means that we did hit the mines. So we're going to go ahead and flip that to its mine side, and that's going to be a -4 VOF on that unit. We'll go ahead and place the PDFs and VOFs for this now. The heavy machine gun came on board firing at the squad that triggered it. However, because it was spotted, we're going to have a bidirectional PDF there. The HMG is going to place a automatic weapons VOF. That'll be ignored this turn because the mines are going to be a heavier VOF. In addition to the squad that triggered it firing at it, because they're spotted, the 3rd platoon is going to also go ahead and fire at that unit. So that's going to right now place small arms fire on there. But we also have the unit sitting over here, the 160 machine gun section, or I'm sorry, 160 mortar section. That is also going to automatically fire, and that is going to result in heavy weapons fire on the woods. It's going to result also, we've got crossfire now, and so we're going to open up pretty strong on that unit. Get a decent amount of firepower on that right away. Okay, with all of the VOF placed, we're ready to go ahead and resolve the combat effects. So we're going to go ahead and start with the German unit. The German unit is going to be at a -3 for the heavy weapons, -1 for the crossfire, so that's a -4, a +2 for the card, +1 for the foxhole, so that's going to be a net combat modifier of -1. So we draw the -1, and we see that the -1 gets us a hit. We draw to see the results of the hit, and as you can see, we get a casualty, a 2-step casualty. This is just a 1-step unit, and so that unit is going to be eliminated immediately. Place the casualty marker, pull that off the board. Now we'll go ahead and resolve the fire on the squad that blundered into the minefield. So that's going to be a -4 for the mines, -2 for being exposed, +1 for the internal terrain, and +1 for the cover. So that's going to be a +2 -6, so that's going to be a net combat modifier of -4. We draw a -4 and we see that we just get a hit. We'll draw that hit and see that our line unit gets a fire team and a casualty. So since we started with a 3-step unit here, that means that we're going to end up with a pair of fire teams plus the casualty on that. So we've got a pair of fire teams plus the casualty for that unit. And that unit's also going to be marked as exposed, or pinned, excuse me. Alright, those are the only 2 units where we have combat effects this turn. We're going to go ahead and move into the cleanup phase. Lots of moving around this turn, so we've got lots of exposed markers to go pull off. mines flip back to their draw 3 side. The German unit that's no longer places a PDF, so we can pull that VOF off. And we should have moved the activity level up to engaged when we got up to that point. However, now it's going to be back down to no contact because, again, we have no Germans on the board and we're not under VOF anywhere. It's not under fire, so it shouldn't be pinned anymore. Okay, let's make sure we get our rosters updated. Our 3rd platoon did go ahead and fire another mortar round, so we'll mark that off on the board. And we added the new heavy machine gun, although he's already gone. So 3 heavy machine gun was a line experience, casualty, and I'm not even going to worry about keeping track of the ammunition he didn't spend. And with that, we're done with turn number 7.